GameStop stock boost. Prepare for something bigger with a short squeeze on silver before it's too late. I was working on my next video about the Chinese economy, but put it aside to bring you this video. We've had a global uprising in the financial markets, and this should be called Occupy Wall Street 2021. What you see on the scene right now with GameStop is along the lines of a financial revolution. Before we get into the topic of silver, let's summarize what's been going on with the stock market recently. In case anyone's been hiding under a rock, GameStop is a store chain that sells video games and consoles. With the recent tremendous increase in GameStop shares, GameStop and the stock market have been trending all over Twitter and social media, with many jumping on the bandwagon. Known for its volatility, Bitcoin has increased 129.42% in the last 3 months. It's made an increase of 223.97% in the last year. Tesla shares have increased by 112.64% in the last 3 months, 643% in the last year. But when we look at GameStop shares, we see a tremendous increase of 2,840% in the last 3 months and 8,314% in the last year. That's a 1,744% increase in January alone. So why did GameStop stocks go to the moon? And why do we see increased stocks in AMC Entertainment Holding, a cinema theater company whose business has been on the decline since last year? All of this was brought to you by users in a subreddit named WallStreetBets, which had more than 1.5 million subscribers in January. The number of subscribers skyrocketed to more than 5 million while I was preparing this video. Most of the members here are young people, and they have many resources that were not available in the past. There's a plethora of information and analysis easily accessible on the internet these days, and WallStreetBets also has users doing analysis in real time on their subreddit. More importantly, we now have mobile applications like Robinhood and Ameritrade, which allow people the opportunity to buy and sell stocks very quickly, with almost no fee. If we go to the source of this Occupy movement, we see young people on WallStreetBets arguing that some companies like GameStop have been especially shorted by hedge funds, which they see as manipulation. So they decided to beat them at their own game. Although Redditors do acknowledge that GameStop's business has been badly affected by the health crisis and restrictions in the last year, they believe shares of GameStop should not be shorted at these levels. Yes, GameStop relies on physical sales, and most people now buy games online. However, more people are at home playing video games than ever before. There are still gamers buying games, consoles, and accessories at GameStop. The way they see it, none of this makes sense. GameStop was shorted by 260% of its value for a period on December 31st. Now this rate has dropped to 151%. This was the seed that sprouted the movement. It's not normal for it to get this short, and they decided to get back at the sharks by buying up stocks. In doing so, thanks to these mobile applications, they use options that were not accessible for small investors in the past when it was nearly impossible to buy and sell a lot of stock. For those of you who don't know, let me explain what a stock option is. A stock option is a contract that gives you the right to buy or sell stock at a specified price on a specific date. When these contracts are made in stocks, they can be made cheaper than the price of stocks. For example, if the value of a share is $10, you can even get these contracts for $1. With a call option, you're betting the stock price will rise. And with a put option, you're betting the stock price will fall. So members of the WallStreetBets subreddit began to create positions in GameStop stocks with call options. As this began to reach the market, the Wall Street wolves, who were now short on stocks, also known as the hedge fund managers, began to mock these members. This caused the users of WallStreetBets to buckle down even more. Before the GameStop fiasco, users in this subreddit would analyze different shares and take positions, some successfully and some not. After the condescending words of these hedge fund managers, they banded together like never before and began to take option positions to cause the tremendous increases we see today. As I said at the beginning of the video, the number of members has drastically increased, along with the GameStop stock prices. Let's say that every newcomer brings $1,000 with them. This gives them a buying power of more than $5 billion. It could even reach $50 billion because, as I mentioned before, you buy contracts cheaper than shares. As you can see when you look at the chart, the record for call options volume has been broken recently. Also, the record was broken at NASDAQ. And amazingly, GameStop volume outpaced companies like Tesla, Microsoft, and Apple. With WallStreetBets members buying up AMC stock, it even surpassed Apple. Millions of these Redditors are sharing memes and celebrating their victory. This is the victory of a group of young people who drove hedge funds with their high processor computers, indicators, and well-paid analysts to the bottom. They're teaching them a lesson. If you look at the graph, you can see that these young people are also making money. As of January 20th, the prices of the shares that hedge funds favored the most and were longing are decreasing. You can see prices of the stocks which they shorted the most are rising. Most importantly, as the members move on options, institutional investors who think they've incurred losses on options or may eventually suffer a loss buy stock they don't actually have in order not to lose more at the end of the contract. This drives the price even higher. Sri Lankan-American Chamath Palihapitiya, an early Bitcoin investor and one of the most supportive billionaire businessmen, was a guest on CNBC. Although the CNBC host said their actions were wrong, Chamath opposed this and defended small investors. He said that subreddit members' analysis is more consistent and deeper than hedge fund managers, and they have the opportunity to buy the shares they analyze, and that cannot be avoided. In fact, he recently stated that he's also supported them by buying up stock, making a 7 times profit, which he plans to donate to charity. In another analysis on WallStreetBets, one of the top short openers stated that Melvin Capital would have to close this position with a 100% loss. And it was so. Melvin Capital and Citron Research ended up closing all positions with a 100% loss. And many other hedge funds closed the week with an average of a 25 to 30% loss, which was terrible for them. But the big investor's brother, SEC, intervened in the situation with their Twitter statements. Please look at the comments below. The SEC statement about watching the video, you will not see a single SEC supporting statement. The question on everyone's mind is, hey SEC, are you protecting small investors or your billionaire friends? This was the story of GameStop. Now let's move on to the most important part for the people like me who think gold and silver are real investment assets. Before this subreddit closed a period, an important post was made that is worth mentioning here. They discussed which financial asset was under the strongest pressure and said it was silver. This is something I've been saying for years. In particular, they said that JP Morgan manipulated the prices of gold and silver, and in fact the price of silver should be $1,000, not $25. They could earn money making a move for silver. And even if they didn't, it wouldn't be enough to really hit JP Morgan where it hurts. These members are mostly young people who've adopted the "you only live once" YOLO philosophy. It's very clear that nothing will stop them. After news of the effects they were having on the stock market, many new people across social media decided to join the movement. What it looks like is a public hedge fund of millions of people. They're giving hell to Wall Street's supposedly experienced investors. And their next target is JP Morgan and silver. They're right, because JP Morgan was caught again for manipulating gold and silver prices last September, only receiving a small penalty. Also, JP Morgan is now facing a new $920 million investigation. Indeed, silver, which we can call paper silver, which is unreal and used in markets as if it were real silver, is 250 times the physical silver market. I think considering this reality, even the $1,000 price is less than what it's worth. But will they really be able to carry out this plan? What they have accomplished already is no small feat. It's a very huge deal to break the records of options in the entire stock market and to achieve volume records. Silver has a slightly larger market of almost $1.45 trillion. It will not be easy to get the huge results they got with GameStop. But no matter what, an interesting period lies ahead. It's certain that small investors will really target the silver market and make huge waves there. Of course, this is not investment advice, but if you haven't, follow the precious metal markets like gold and silver. When you see big moves, know where they came from, and don't be surprised. We'll see you in the next video.